Welcome back to my Storytime channel. Today I'm going to explain the difference between being, in my opinion, being religious, overly religious, and being spiritual. So that I don't confuse anybody, so they don't think, nobody thinks that I'm like contradicting myself. I feel like being over the top religious is following a set of rules or policies or religious scriptures so extremely tight where there's no wiggle. It leaves no room for error from human to human. From human to human. I do believe in having community. I definitely believe in having community. I believe that there are extremes within a lot of communities, and this is how neglect and or abuse happens. This is how narcissists are allowed to get away with so much. This is how bullying happens. This is how shunning happens from people to people. There is no spirit of God moving through situations like that. I need to give some examples before I move on to being more spiritual and trying to learn and like hear the voice of God and moving in that Kairos time. You guys know what Kairos time is. When you're over the top religious, it makes over time, it makes for a really bad situation. It can be really misleading. It can be very disappointing because why? People following people. People in cliques, people in groups, people who are favoring other people just because they're their friend or just because they're their family. Whoever is watching this, you know exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to groups and cliques and like right within the community. And like I said earlier, there's no spirit of God moving through that. You have people with adults with hardcore like mental illnesses, and that's on a really wide spectrum. Mental illness can go from big to small, and it's really undetected unless the person is like acting out or whatever, consistently acting out in just whatever it is. I don't want to make this video too long, but I do want to explain how being over the top religious can really make you get you stuck if you are a person who you are just super involved with the community and you really don't have a relationship with God. You are just showing up for the sake of you want to help, and you could be coming from a person could be coming from a good place. You want to show up, you want to help. In my last video I was saying that I was waiting for Rokaya to show up with the tools and like knives and the special little cute things that we were going to cut up the fruit with. It was so cute. Of course I didn't take pictures or anything like that because I'm not gonna post it. Oh, I did take a couple pictures, but anyway, we cut the watermelons up in these like little cute balls and the cucumbers up, and like we were like making just anyway, it was really fun. So for me to help out with the community in areas that I can, when I have the time, that's not being over the top religious at all. That's just an area, a time I could give that time. And when I don't have time, and if I could donate financially, then I'll do that. If I don't have the time, that's not being extreme. As far as panels of people that are put in charge of other people and working together with the community, I believe in that, but also to a limit, to a degree. I feel like if there's a family that has come upon a hardship, that the panel or the group of people that are I hate to say leaders of the community, but I feel like a lot of people will be like familiar with that. I feel like if there's a family that is in need of help within the community, that the panel should be aware. They should not be 100% in control, because what happens? There is no spirit of God moving through that, because that puts people, that makes them subject to being dealt with however that panel of people is feeling that day in that moment. They could be dismissive in any way. They could be being too much favoritism in that way. Like, it could swing either way. I do believe that the panel should be aware of certain situations, people's circumstances, but not full on, hands all in. Well, you, since this is happening, then you guys have to go here, you guys have to do there. No. You know why? Because God doesn't lead us like that. He will show us the way. He guides our steps, especially when you are asking for his forgiveness and his guidance and you're looking for it. He will drop right down into you what he needs you to do. And it's not always going to be the traditional way that you would think that it would be. It's always going to be something out of the ordinary. And that is where there's a big clash for me there. That clashes, because if you're gonna go and do community, like not community things, that's the wrong word. If you're going to be the type of person who was to show up and show out and be on all the committees and be on the research team or panel or just whatever, these things are good, but there has to be God first. He has to be in the mix. We have to learn how to incorporate him in everything in our lives and allow him to guide our steps. If there's a person in the community with a good idea, for example, that comes up with a good idea like, oh, okay, in my country, this is the way we did it. Can we try to do it this way? And the panel's like, no, we've been doing it this way, this way for this many years, and we're going to stick to that, and we're going to try and do it this way. And the person's like, but I know in my country we did it this way, and then the panel's like, but here we need to get a permit for that. And so, like, I feel like there's no real wiggle room in those areas. I'm not being very clear about that, but I don't know how to better explain. God, give me the words that I need. I need some wisdom in my words. I want everybody to understand there's a huge difference between being over the top religious, because like I said, a lot of mistreatment can happen that way, and then being led by the Spirit of God. When you're talking to him and asking him for something, telling him how you feel, undoubtedly he's going to guide you to get you where he needs you to be. And it's not going to be in the traditional way that you think. It may take years. It may take 2 weeks. It may, following the Spirit of God, right? He will talk to you in all kinds of ways. And people, and you know this, you've been around people where they've said something that you're like, oh, let me look on that website because you heard somebody talking about it. If you're a person who's always on YouTube, you could get your answer through that way. If you're a dreamer, you could get your answer through that way. God talks to us in so many ways, and he will lead us in ways to get us to where we would like to be, and he will leave us better off than we thought, than we were even expecting. Because why? Because he's God, and we're in relationship with him, like we're talking to him on a regular basis. This is why. I was going to add to that. Yeah, moving when he tells you to move, because you could miss your window of opportunity. And if you miss your window of opportunity all the time, God's always going to get what he wants done. He will take that, whatever it is that he had for you, and he will give it to somebody else. Because why? He's God. He's going to get his work done. So what I'm saying is, being in relationship with him, he will lift some veils, and you'll be able to hear a lot clearer. You won't even have the desire to even want to stay in a lot of social circles, because when he starts lifting veils, you see people's true colors for who they are. Whatever they're saying, you feel the energy of what they're saying, and you will know if they're authentic or not. And it just makes you not even really want to be around people too much. And it's not that you're sad or lonely. You might be alone for a time in your life, but you don't feel lonely. I know that makes sense to somebody, because there's people in the world who's surrounded by people who are even married with children, and they feel very lonely. So I don't want to make it sound like in other videos that I'm contradicting myself. No, I do not. I like the idea. I think I like the idea of religion, but so much abuse comes with it. It makes you stick like really hardcore, or into really hard, stay right on with God, and it makes you want to strengthen your relationship with him, because he brings, like I said earlier, a peace that surpasses all understanding. Your life could be upside down, and other people will be looking at you and upset that you are handling your situation in a nice, peaceful way, and they will be like, well, who does he think he is to still be able to show up and have a smile on his face or a pleasant disposition, you know, or who does she think she is to be able to handle her situation so well when her whole family life has fallen apart, or her whole finances has fallen apart, or her house burned down and now she has to live in a hotel. And like, people's dark people are, a lot of times people can be very dark on the inside, and if somebody is coming and they are pleasant or polite, that bothers them. So that's more on the spiritual side. The religious side, I feel like things can go left really fast, because at this point now you're doing things for people, and it spirals out of control really quickly, and it leaves I've done this video, by the way, 3 times already. It leaves people to be, it makes them feel disappointed. Why? Because people are flawed. You're not supposed to lean that hard on people anyway. You're not. God is our provider. He's our protector. He's our creator. He's created everything and everyone. Any prophet you could think of, he created them. He's the creator. He knows everything. He knows what's coming up ahead of us. So if you're trying to do something and he's not allowing it, he knows exactly what he's doing. Relax. It's gonna come through, and it will leave you with no regrets. That is why I started falling in love with being in love with just trying to have a better, a stronger relationship and connection with God. This can go for any and everybody. People will see me with the hijab on and say that's like for Muslims. Nope, it's for people. People, get into it, get in a relationship with him, see exactly what I'm talking about. Going the other way, letting everybody in on your business just because you are in place of need, people will let you down. Going to too many social events, you will miss what God is telling you all the time. God speaks to us all the time. We have small miracles within each and every day. Like, this happens all the time. A lot of times we miss it because we're too much, we're being, sometimes we can be too social. Sometimes we can be a lot too social, because why? We don't want to be invited to somewhere and not show up, and things like that. We feel this pressure to go to things. We even feel pressure to change our number and not give it to friends and family. And by the way, I can make a whole nother video on that. Just because you're related to somebody does not mean that they're your family. Okay? Anybody could be your family. Okay? I think I want to wrap this up with, we need to stop telling people, oh, your cousin, this is your cousin, they should support you, they should be there for you, this is a big time in your life, these are your parents, they should support you. This is why people are so hurt nowadays, because we're conditioned to think that just because this is my grandfather or my grandmother or my cousin or my sibling, that they should be supporting me, or that's your mom and dad, they should be supporting you. No. They are human beings. Okay? Your mom is a portal. She's the person that you came through. So for anybody who sees this, if my channel ever grows, if it ever grows, maybe one day it will, maybe it will stay small, who knows. I'd quite like it small, because I could answer everybody's questions or just respond back better, because it's small right now. Don't get into the hype. Everybody does not have to be there being your number one cheerleader. We're all one, but we still have our own free will. A lot of people still have their internal issues and things that they need to work on. It doesn't matter how they're related to you. Now, are we mad at the person and we don't love them? No, we're not mad. We don't not love them or not be forgiving towards them, but we need to stop hardcore thinking that this person is this person to you. They should be showing up and for your life. No, not necessarily. You'll be okay. You'll be okay. You can rise to the top, and whatever you have, whether it's a skill, financial stability, whatever it is, we'll still share it with those family members, because why? We're not upset. You will still share it when you get to as you rise each level. You don't have to be upset. You don't, you know. Also, forgiving somebody doesn't mean that you need to hang out with them, or it doesn't mean that they need your number. No, it's okay. It's okay. So I hope I did a good job with saying the difference between being religious. It leaves so much room for being hurt, leaves so much room for being abused, and then following God's guidance in the time that He's speaking to you to tell you to do it. And I'll give one example. I'm gonna wrap this up. The video's too long. For example, if you're going to buy, if you're buying your children new wardrobe for the school year, and you're exhausted. A lot of times God drops things into us when we're exhausted. We don't even want to be out anymore. But we want to get home. When He drops something into you, for example, let's say shoe carnival. Shoe carnival, where did I get that from? Why did I say shoe carnival? But I'm going to go with it. Let's say you're like, I need to get the kids new shoes. I really don't feel like it. But God's telling you that in that moment, because He needs you to go there. Because why? He has a person there in the shoe carnival who's going to be in line in front of you, who says, you know what? I don't need my other 50% coupon. Turn around and hand it to you. And now you have, on top of already your 20% discount on the shoes, another 50% discount. God knows exactly what He's doing. He speaks to us all the time. We just can't have a lot of chaos in our lives and be over the top religious because now we feel like we're better than somebody else. We need to mistreat somebody else, or we need to favor somebody else because now we think that we are in control, and we are here to love and be helpmates to one another. But like I said in the beginning, to a degree. And then leave it alone. Let people have their relationship with God. He takes us down different paths. He gives some of us more than He gives others. And see, when it becomes in a religious circle or situation, when we see somebody without, we'll say like, oh, he doesn't even take care of his family. We have no idea how bad their situation may be, how bad their struggle may be, we don't know. We're just looking at them through human eyes and placing harsh judgment on them. Or he doesn't dress properly, she doesn't dress properly. We don't know what kind of spiritual warfare that person might be fighting in that moment. Like, it is just so awful. Not to say that we accept everything, because no, you can't accept every single thing, but we shouldn't come from a place of being mean or... Okay, let me end the video now. I am talking too much. I hope this made this a little bit clearer. If it doesn't, rewind it back some, watch it. Whatever you do, give it a thumbs up so that other people can see my videos, and so that I can, so other people will see my videos. Do that at least. If you're not going to subscribe, at least just hit the thumbs up. And until next time, take care. Inshallah, I will make another video and talk to you later.